pastor has to sit up in front, so everybody can make sure that he doesn't get lost before the sermon starts. So I'm sitting up there and I'm watching all the people from the front. But at Leadership Lab, I get to be sort of in the middle, which I think is sort of a good Lutheran way of thinking about things. Because, we don't believe that pastors are set above people. Like pastors have any, more authority than anybody else. Did you know that? We say that pastors are set apart, not set above. Set apart for the proclamation of the gospel and the celebrating of the sacraments. What makes me a pastor is not some special higher spirituality. Oh my goodness. If you knew me like I knew me, you'd wonder, like I wonder sometimes, how in the world did God pick someone like me? But back when I was graduating from kindergarten to first grade in Sunday school, my church had a graduation from kindergarten to first grade in Sunday school. And Miss Hornisher, who had owned a shoe company, a shoe store on Madison Street on the west side of Chicago. She had one of those, before they realized that x-rays maybe weren't so good for you all the time, she had a little x-ray machine that you could put your foot in, push a button and you could see an x-ray of your foot. How cool is that? Put the left foot in, put the right foot in, put my elbow in, shake it all about, yeah. But anyway, so Miss Hornisher had this old typewriter. Anybody know what a typewriter is? Okay. So she had this old typewriter and she typed up Bible verses on a piece of paper, and then she took a pair of scissors and she cut them up, and then she kind of handed them out to us kindergarten folks, and we were supposed to memorize these Bible verses. I'm 5 years old, for Pete's sake. I don't even memorize things now. But anyway, I got Psalm 122, verse 1. And I memorized this, and I walked up on the stage, and I stood there and I said, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. I'm thinking, all these years ago, I still remember that verse. I've never forgotten that verse. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. And I'm thinking, so did God grab her hand as she was reaching for, Jesus wept, which would have been way easier for me to memorize, and got this verse and said, give it to this kid because this is going to mean something to him for the rest of his life. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. And I really believe that's where God has always wanted me, in the midst of his house. This house. The house isn't the building, the house is the people. In the midst of you. So I thank God that God has pulled me out from you and put me with you, not above you, although, yeah, kind of. That's just so that the staff that sits as far back as they could possibly sit, like good Lutherans. Look how far they are back there. I'm up on the stage so that they can see me, otherwise I would just be a little speck down here in front. Anyway. Wow, what a piece of music that was. Set me out in a place where my feet can't touch. There's times I feel that way, but I know that God lifts me up. So let's pray. My pastor used to pray this when I was growing up. I don't know why I'm thinking about all my... That was like before most of you were born. This is before some of your parents were born. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, for you are our strength. You are our Redeemer. Amen. Let's let's anchor ourselves in this word for the week. Say it together. From the 4th chapter of Paul's wonderful letter to the Philippians, the 8th verse. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Whatever is honorable. When I was growing up, I guess maybe that's why I decided that I was going to do some growing up stuff. When I was growing up, we used to walk to school. School wasn't very far away, so we'd go out. I always say goodbye to my mom, and I would go out the front door, down the stairs, and make a left-hand turn, head down Marengo Avenue to the corner of Jackson and Marengo, and then I would make a right-hand turn, and I would walk about a block to the stop sign. And there was a crossing guard there. I think his name was Dill. He'd walk halfway across with his little stop sign, and he'd put it out in front of people, and we'd walk across the rest of the way, and then walk our next half a block to get to Garfield School. We went to school all day. I loved school. And then we walked home the same way, basically. We came down Jackson, made the left-hand turn on the Marengo, and then we got to my house. But we would walk up the driveway instead of going through the front door. We'd walk down the driveway, which is a gravel driveway still to this day, and then up the back stairs and onto the little back porch, really small back porch, and then into the kitchen, and then through the kitchen into the dining room, and through the dining room into the living room, which was over here, fall on the couch, turn on television. We had televisions back then. They had really big boxes and really small screens. So anyway, we would get there. That was the going home routine. Through the kitchen, through the dining room, into the living room. My mom loves to move furniture, and one time she moved the furniture like right in the doorway because she could. And so we came running through the kitchen, through the dining room, and then into the living room. But there was a couch there. Boom! Right over the couch. Anyway, sometimes we would come home and we would come through the porch and out into the kitchen, and my mom would be sitting at the kitchen table, and there'd be a box in front of her, and she'd be taking out a fork or a knife or a spoon, golden color, and she'd wipe it down with this cleaner. It would be white first, and then when it would dry, she'd wipe it off. And then she'd hold it up, and then she'd lay it down, and she'd take out another one. And then she'd finish that one, she'd put it down. And then as we watched this ritual go on, we knew that someone was coming over because we had the good silverware, goldware out, and someone was coming over because, you see, the best came out for the guest. Nothing but the best for the guest. Everybody say it. Nothing but the best for the guest. Whatever is honorable, whatever is noble. Think about these things. We usually ate our meals every night about 5:30. At the kitchen table. I would sit here, my dad would sit there, my brother would sit there, my mom would sit there, and my sister would sit there. Funny how they got in between all of us. Anyway, but when the goldware was out, we ate at the dining room. Nothing but the best for the guests. And usually she would make us put on really nice clothes too. Whatever is honorable, whatever is noble. And then when the visitors came, we had our dinner, and then when dinner was over, my brother would get up and he would play the piano. And then my sister would play the flute. And I would get out the guitar and I would play. And then usually if it was like a really special guest, all three of us would play a song that we knew together. Mom used to say, I want you to be on your best behavior. Anybody ever do that? I want you to be on your best behavior. And so my brother and sister would try to be on their best behavior. And me, well, I was always on my best behavior. Nothing but the best for the guests. Say it. Nothing but the best for the guests. So let's think about these things. Think about what you have in your life as the best. It's the best thing about you. The best thing you have, the best thing that you could put to use, the best thing that you could share. What would that be? Whatever is honorable. Whatever is noble. You know, the word that lies behind this word that gets translated honorable is semnos. Why say that? Semnos. It's a Greek word. And it's used when talking about things that were used in the temples, the holy places. It's used when referring to tables and furniture and fabrics for wall hangings. Semnos. That was the best stuff. In fact, I was looking through my Bible today, as a matter of fact, and I was reminded to go back to the book of Exodus. And there's chapter after chapter after chapter about the best stuff that God invites the people to use to build a tabernacle, a dwelling place for God, and a table and an ark for the covenant, and a lampstand to go inside of it, and the tabernacle, the holiest place where God would come and be with the people. The word tabernacle means to dwell with, because God's intention was to be with them in a tent, wherever they were. Not in a temple that they had to go to, but in a tent that would be built in the middle of them. So God said, I will tabernacle with my people. I will be with you. And God invites them to put together these things with semnos, the best stuff. And it describes the yarn that they would use, and the linens, and the garments for the priest to wear, and the ephod, which was kind of like it was a holy thing. It had 2 onyx stones engraved, the names of the sons of Israel. Man, just like all kinds of really detailed stuff. And they would do the best they could, because this is the stuff that would be used to worship God. Semnos, noble things, honorable things, the best china, the best gold, the best silver. Hey, this is going to be used to worship God. Let's get our best stuff out. So, what's your best stuff? Whatever's honorable, whatever's noble, think about these things. There's a movie I enjoyed, it's called Knight's Tale. Anybody ever seen that one? A Knight's Tale. And in part of it, there's this guy, his name is William Thatcher. He's aspiring to be a noble person, a knight. And he gets heralded. You know, they herald in, they call in, they introduce the knight, and his herald just uses the best words he can pile up together.
Officer Wallace Percival, 3rd Earl of Warwick, my lords, my ladies, it is with honour I introduce my liege, Sir Thomas Colville.
You're good. You're very good. My lords, my ladies, and everybody else here not sitting on a cushion. the pleasure of introducing to you a knight, sired by knights, a knight who could trace his lineage back beyond Charlemagne. I first met him atop a mountain near Jerusalem, praying to God, asking his forgiveness for the Saracen blood spilt by his sword. Next, he amazed me still further in Italy when he saved a fatherless beauty from the would-be ravishings of her dreadful Turkish uncle. In Greece, he spent a year in silence just to better understand the sound of a whisper.
Oh my.
And so, without further gilding the lily, and with no more ado, I give to you the seeker of serenity, the protector of Italian virginity, the enforcer of our Lord God, the one, the only, Sir Ulrich von Liechtenstein!
Okay, so he kind of embellished a little bit. You see, the thing is that Sir Ulrich is really William Fletcher. And he was raised in a humble place, and his dad didn't have much. He mended nets, and his father planted an idea in his head. He incepted this idea into William's life, the idea that people can be raised up beyond and above their humble beginnings. Even though he wasn't born with any status, that a person could change their stars. Which he believed, William believed, that he could become noble. And of course, that's what this movie's all about. It's about finding where the places of true nobility, true honor, becoming what we dream of becoming what we imagine, becoming what, dare we even say, God has planted inside us. That a person, just because they have a title, doesn't mean that they're noble.
Someday, I'll be a knight.
A Thatcher's son? A knight? You might as well try to change the stars.
Can it be done, Father? Can a man change the stars?
Yes, he believes another man can do anything.
Oh, come on, well, you gotta watch the whole movie. I can't show it all. And why not? How many of you ever saw the movie Forrest Gump? You remember how Forrest used to say, stupid is as stupid does? Yeah, well, the truth is that Forrest Gump was a noble man. In The Knight's Tale, noble is as noble does. William Fletcher is an honorable man. This is how honorable he is.
He keeps his eye on the target. A true hunter.
through. But, I've never not finished before. I wish to keep my honor intact.
Why didn't Ulrich finish it?
He shows mercy.
Then he shows you weakness.
Mercy. Adamar thinks that when you show mercy, you show weakness. That there's a flaw in you when you are merciful. We know better, do we not? That mercy is the ultimate strength. Mercy is what honors us. It makes us noble. I traveled through Israel for 10 days with a guide whose name was Johnny. Here's Johnny. And he showed us amazing things. He took us to places and told us the stories of those places, those holy places. And on the last day that he was going to be with us, Johnny invited us to his father's house. That's his father to the right. His father's house was 2 rooms. One upstairs, one downstairs. To get from one room to the other room, you had to go outside and up the stairs. The room that we sat in was about as big as from here to here. And about maybe from here to here. It couldn't have been more than 15, 16 feet square. And he set up chairs for us. And he filled the refrigerator, a college-sized refrigerator, with adult beverages. And he had Coke for those who wanted that. And he bought the best he could get. 6 cans of Pringles. And he served us a feast in his father's house. He honored us. He honored us the best way he could. In a room that was filled with the memory of his growing up, the memory of his life. And he invited us. And we did him the best honor we could by drinking everything he gave us to drink. I really tried to drink everything he gave us to drink. And eating what he had to give us. Because he was giving the gift of himself. He was honoring us by inviting us into his space, his place. When God looked at us, he saw the state of our lives. He saw our needs and our hurts and our cracks and our broken places. God looked at us, and then what did God do? He sent us his best. Imagine that. He honored us with Jesus, his only Son. He didn't let the messed up state of our lives get in the way of his love and his mercy. God decided, I'm going to raise these people up. I'm going to change their hearts. I'm going to change their lives. You see, because God is the only one who can change our stars, because God made the stars. Stars do not determine us. Where we were born does not determine us. The names that other people put upon us does not determine us. The labels that people would like to stamp upon us does not determine us. God does. With God, all things are possible. That's a good word, yes? Let's say that. With God, all things are possible. Again, with God, all things are possible. Again, with God, all things are possible. Again, with God, all things are possible. Accept that. God honors us by giving us a name that we cannot make for ourselves. It's the next one, stop.
He that strives to touch a star oft stumbles a simple straw.
Okay, stop this one. I messed up. So let me tell you the story. So here he is, he's in the dungeon because he's been found out to be a commoner. And Adamar, who just hates him, and wants to do everything he can possibly do to pull him down and push him down and stomp on him, gets him into stocks. You remember the guy who couldn't go on with the joust? Turns out that he's the prince. He's royalty. And the prince comes in. There it is. Can't you hear it? And the common people who are cheering him are now yelling at him and making fun of him.
Leave the world. Let them have me. God love you, William. So do I.
Down! Stick fast! Or I will fall you! As Jesus Christ the Nazarene, and his most holy mother, the Virgin Mary, are my witnesses, I will fall you! Just stand alive! Stick back, Christian! Pain! Lots of pain! Listen to me! Listen to me!
What a pair we make. Both trying to hide who we are. Both unable to do so. Your men love you. If I knew nothing else about you, that would be enough. But you also tilt when you should withdraw. And that is knightly too.
Release him. He may appear to be of humble origins, but my personal historians have discovered that he is descendant from an ancient royal line. This is my word, and as such is beyond contestation. If I may repay the kindness you once showed me, take a knee.
This is what God does with us. God makes us noble. It's God's mercy. It's God's promise. It's God's grace. It's what God says to us in Jesus that makes us worthy to offer ourselves back to God in most noble and honorable ways. And so we offer nothing but the best to God because God has given us the best that God has to give. Which reminds me of the call of Isaiah. Remember Isaiah? Old Testament or New? Oh, very good. So he was in the temple one day, and it seems that God showed up. Now, the hem of God's robe filled up the temple. Now, that's pretty big, because that's the hem of my shirt right there. And the hem of God's robe filled up the temple, and Isaiah realized, oh God. And God said, yes. And Isaiah goes, oh, I'm such a wreck. I am a sinful man, and I serve among people who are sinful, and I am a man of unclean lips. More on that tomorrow. Why would God even want someone who would describe himself this way? I am a man of unclean lips. But God says, I can work with this. Even though it doesn't sound so noble. So one of the angels who is surrounding the Lord God swoops down, grabs a hot coal off of the offering fire, swoops down and sticks it on Isaiah's mouth. Boy. And it cleanses Isaiah's not only mouth, but his whole being. And it burns away the bad stuff, which all of us could use from time to time. Yes? A little hot coal from God's altar to stick in our mouth. My mom used to use soap. And I think the hot coal from God's altar was what would have done a little better. In that instant, Isaiah experiences absolute forgiveness. He experiences the grace of God directly from God. And then we hear the rumbling voice of God. I wish I had one of those, but I got this one, so I'll use it. A rumbling voice of God that says, who will go for me? Who shall I send? And in that instant, Isaiah jumps up and goes, me! Send me! So he's like transferred from being a man of unclean lips to send me. And since God had made him new, now he offers up the best of himself. His best words and his best imaginations, and man, did he write a book. Comfort, comfort my people. He says, there's one coming, his name is Emmanuel. His book is just filled with the best words. I'll be your voice, God. I'll be your prophet. Send me, send me, send me. Nothing but the best for God. So God honors us so that we can honor the world with the best of ourselves. Think on these things. That's what God does. So here we go. What would it be like? Those are your words. Think on these things. What would it be like? Think on these things. What would it be like? Think on these things. What would it be like? We would be honoring God with every breath and with every moment and with every heartbeat. We would be honoring whoever we are with.